Welcome to BlackRock Hong Kongers, your go-to channel for in-depth discussions on international politics and global crises. Stay tuned as we uncover the truths behind the headlines. Like, share, and subscribe to join our community of critical thinkers. Imagine standing at the edge of a narrow strait, gazing at the turbulent waters. On one side lies a vast nation, it's expansive, land and immense power rising with every wave. On the other, a small yet resolute land, anxiously watching, fully aware that its safety depends on the balance of power in these waters. The Taiwan Strait, a narrow passage separating mainland China from Taiwan, has become the focal point of modern geopolitics, its tense waters echoing with stories of power, conflict, and uncertainty. For decades, it has witnessed the tug-of-war between hegemonic claims and struggles for autonomy. Here, we observe recurring patterns: military exercises, typically seen as defensive preparations, but which could escalate into conflict. The question arises, what happens when exercises cease to be mere simulations and become reality? In early 2022, the world held its breath as Russian forces amassed on Ukraine's borders. The Russian government referred to these actions as military exercises, routine drills designed to test readiness, mere precautionary measures. However, beneath the surface calm of these exercises, a storm was brewing. Over time, the scope of the drills expanded, and Russia ramped up its military deployments. The line between preparation and provocation became blurred. The world had hoped these exercises were nothing but empty rhetoric. Yet in late February 2022, it was caught off guard. Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Once military exercises, tragically, they transformed into war.
Putin called this a special military operation, but it's clear this is a full-scale invasion.
Thousands of lives were lost, cities destroyed, and the world witnessed the collapse of a nation. The question that followed was, how did this happen? To understand this, we must revisit the nature of military exercises. They are not just tests of force or readiness, they are displays of intent. Russia's exercises were never mere rehearsals. They were the groundwork for military actions that plunged a region into chaos. This history offers a powerful warning. Military exercises can be harbingers of larger conflicts, a reality often recognized only too late. In 2010, South Korea conducted a naval exercise off its coast, using blank shells during training. For many, this appeared to be a routine event, even somewhat mundane, a simple display of preparedness. However, for its northern neighbor, North Korea, this was seen as a provocation, one that was bound to elicit a response. North Korea viewed the exercise as a direct threat and retaliated with gunfire, launching live rounds at Yeonpyeong Island. The result was deadly. Homes were destroyed, families fled, and innocent lives were lost. What was initially a simple military exercise escalated into intense gunfire, a stark reminder of how fragile peace can be in an environment of heightened tension. Even routine military activities can quickly turn into destructive conflict. The attack on Yeonpyeong Island clearly demonstrated how military exercises, although intended for practice, can provoke hostile reactions, particularly in fragile regions, where even the smallest spark can ignite a larger fire. For the residents of Yeonpyeong Island, what was meant to be a harmless drill turned into a living nightmare, revealing the real dangers lurking beneath seemingly innocuous military postures.
Subject of endless documentaries, spy thrillers, novels, films. Actually happen on our watch, during our time? If you'd asked me, I would have told you it was impossible. It would never happen. They all would have told you the same.
In 1962, the world stood on the edge of nuclear annihilation. At the height of the Cold War, the United States conducted a military exercise called Operation Ortsac, simulating an invasion of the Caribbean nation of Cuba. What was meant to be a routine drill took on an entirely different meaning for the Soviet Union. They did not view the exercise as a mere drill, but as a direct threat to their influence in the Western Hemisphere. The tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union escalated rapidly. As the situation worsened, the world stood on the brink of nuclear war.
This government, as promised, has maintained the closest surveillance of the Soviet military buildup on the island of Cuba. Within the past week, unmistakable evidence has established the fact that a series of offensive missile sites is now in preparation on that imprisoned island. The purpose of these bases can be none other than to provide a nuclear strike capability against the Western.
At the height of the crisis, a Soviet submarine commander mistakenly believed that war had already broken out and almost launched a nuclear torpedo. Humanity narrowly avoided disaster, entirely dependent on a split-second decision. The Cuban Missile Crisis is a profound example of how military exercises can be misunderstood. What was supposed to be a demonstration of power and deterrence turned into a high-risk gamble that jeopardized the future of the world. This event highlights the unpredictability of military exercises. When both sides possess advanced technology, a simple drill can quickly escalate into an irreversible disaster. As global tensions rise, the future of the Taiwan Strait increasingly hinges on power, struggles, and strategic choices. In recent years, the Chinese People's Liberation Army (PLA) has demonstrated significant progress in military modernization. Its naval and air forces have undergone substantial upgrades, and through the adoption of anti-access, area denial AD strategies, it seeks to deter foreign intervention in the Taiwan Strait. Military exercises around Taiwan have become increasingly realistic, incorporating multi-layered airstrikes, blockades, and amphibious landing plans, showcasing enhanced joint combat capabilities. However, modern warfare is no longer limited to traditional armed conflict. China's cyber warfare capabilities pose a significant threat. Its cyber units, employing advanced technologies, have launched large-scale cyber attacks on Taiwan's critical infrastructure, including power grids, transportation systems, and financial networks, aiming to undermine societal stability and defensive readiness. In multiple simulated exercises, in 2023, the PLA demonstrated its ability to disrupt Taiwan's command and communication systems, even attempting to spread misinformation and employ psychological warfare to weaken morale and create chaos before a conflict even begins. Taiwan, in response to this invisible war, has strengthened its cyber defenses under an asymmetric warfare strategy. The island has established specialized cybersecurity units and collaborated closely with allies such as the United States and Japan, sharing threat intelligence and defensive technologies. However, Taiwan's cyber defense capabilities remain constrained by limited resources and the stability of international support. If China were to adopt a hybrid warfare strategy, synchronizing cyber attacks with physical assaults, Taiwan's ability to respond would face immense challenges. This asymmetric, multidimensional battlefield makes the Taiwan Strait an exceptionally sensitive region. The combination of traditional and modern warfare methods means that any action taken by either side could ignite a full-scale conflict in an instant, with consequences far beyond the region, potentially reshaping global security and stability.
这是对台独分裂势力谋独行径的强力震慑。
And a direct response to this speech by Taiwan's president during National Day celebrations.
中华人民共和国无权代表台湾。
The risk of conflict in the Taiwan Strait is not merely a regional issue, but a core concern for global stability. The current international landscape stands at the intersection of multiple crises. Should a war break out in the Taiwan Strait, its impact would inevitably ripple across the globe, reshaping the existing international order. Russia's actions in Ukraine have shown the world how prolonged conflicts can alter geopolitical landscapes. By relying on military strength, Russia aims to reassert its influence while leveraging alliances with China and Iran to challenge the US-led international order. This model of cooperation could play a pivotal role in the Taiwan Strait, potentially escalating the conflict into a larger confrontation and drawing the Asia-Pacific region into a new multipolar framework. Similarly, ongoing tensions in the Middle East could amplify the impact of a Taiwan Strait conflict. The rivalry between Israel and Iran, the US military presence in the region, and the vulnerability of oil supply lines could all face heightened challenges. A confrontation involving the US and China might dilute American focus in the Middle East, creating opportunities for Iran and other anti-Western forces. This could further destabilize global energy markets. European nations, especially NATO members, are already grappling with internal pressures, exacerbated by the Russia-Ukraine war. Should conflict erupt in the Taiwan Strait, Europe would face a difficult decision on whether to fully support the US against China. For Europe, such a war could further strain its economy, especially if trade routes from Asia are disrupted, leading to a supply chain crisis. Moreover, NATO's resources may prove insufficient to simultaneously address threats from both Russia and China, posing an urgent strategic challenge. For Asia, a Taiwan Strait war would directly threaten regional peace. Countries like Japan, South Korea, and Australia could quickly become involved in the conflict, especially under obligations like the US-Japan Security Treaty. South Korea might find itself vulnerable to provocations from North Korea, while tensions in the South China Sea and East China Sea could escalate further. ASEAN countries would likely face intense pressure to pick sides between the US and China, undermining regional economic cooperation. A war involving the Taiwan Strait would profoundly disrupt global supply chains. As the global hub for semiconductor production, Taiwan's disruption would have catastrophic consequences for the global technology industry. Energy and food supply lines could further tighten, exacerbating inflation and plunging global markets into recession. Financial systems, already fragile, could be further destabilized as capital markets react with panic, deepening the global economic crisis. The crossroads of global choices. The Taiwan Strait is not an isolated flashpoint, but a convergence of global tensions. Against the backdrop of the unresolved Russia-Ukraine war and Middle Eastern uncertainties, any escalation in the Taiwan Strait could trigger a chain reaction of global conflicts. We are at a historical crossroads, where the future of peace and stability hinges on whether nations can find paths of cooperation amid uncertainty. History reminds us that the cost of conflict is always high, and the wisdom to prevent it is the most critical choice of our time. Thank you for watching BlackBlock Hong Konger's Global Insight Network. Like, share, and subscribe for in-depth analyses on international politics and critical issues. Explore these videos next and join the conversation for a more insightful world.